Ms. Miller, can you hear me? Angela Miller, is that you?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Ms. Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Angela Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, Ms. Miller, and I'm talking to you on your case D20-01478. It had to do with a shoplifting at the Cascade Mire. They're talking about the date was June 8th. If you go forward and make a decision on this case yourself, it has to be your decision. Originally, they charged you with a second-degree retail fraud 1-year misdemeanor because you've had prior convictions. Now they're saying if you plead to a retail fraud 3rd degree, which is a 93-day misdemeanor, up to $500 fine, or 3 times the value of the property stolen, whichever is greater, the final decision has to be yours. The other charge would be dismissed. Retail fraud in the 3rd degree, Ms. Miller, is a misdemeanor. You can plead guilty or not guilty. You can have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You can have an attorney represent you. Right now you're by yourself, so it's you and me talking to each other. You don't have a lawyer. If you go forward on this, it has to be your decision. And there won't be a trial of any kind if you plead guilty. We don't have a trial if a person pleads guilty. Then you give up your rights that are associated with having a trial, like to bring up witnesses, take the stand yourself, be a witness if you wanted to. If you chose not to, your silence cannot be held against you, and you have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have any questions that stick out at this point, Ms. Miller?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently now on probation or parole anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Do you have cases pending in any other courts?
No, ma'am.
Is the address on Prospect still where you live?
No, ma'am. I have updated it with the courts.
What's the address now?
840 Watson Street.
840 Watson?
Yes, ma'am. Apartment 2.
Number 2? And
Yes.
is that Grand Rapids?
Yes, ma'am. 49504.
Okay. So, Ms. Miller, if you were going to appeal anything, you'd have 3 weeks, 21 days after being sentenced to appeal. An appeal goes from district court, where we are, to circuit court, which is the next higher court up. If you look back on this to June 8th, now it's 4 months ago, at the Mire in Cascade, 28th Street, how do you want to plead to the retail fraud 3rd degree misdemeanor shoplifting case?
Guilty, ma'am.
Do you remember the incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you at that Myers on 28th Street in Cascade Township on that date of June 8th?
Yes, I was.
Were you inside the store? Was it open to the public?
Yes, ma'am.
When you were there, were you shopping like other people and selecting stuff in your cart?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you with any other people?
No, ma'am.
Did you put stuff in a purse that you were carrying, or did you have it in your cart?
I put it in the cart and then into my purse.
And the stuff that you put into your purse, it wasn't all for you, was it?
No, ma'am.
T-shirts, khaki pants, swim trunks. Who's that stuff for?
That was for my son.
How old is your son?
He's 17 and a half.
Would you tell him that you stole stuff for him if you gave him T-shirts, underwear, swim trunks? Would you say these are stolen? Here, have them?
No, ma'am.
So you would have pretended like you bought them.
Yes.
Assuming nobody stopped you at Myers, you would have just given that stuff to your son
Yes, ma'am.
without telling him that you stole it.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he know now that you got caught stealing stuff for him?
He does.
When you took the liquor and put it in your purse, Was that for you or was that for your son?
That was for neither one of us. I was gonna sell it.
So the liquor you would sell to people you know,
Yes.
already
I
arranged with who would buy it?
no, I was just going to try to sell it. I
Well,
was
you don't
living with,
stand on the corner. You don't stand on a corner and sell it to strangers, do you?
no, ma'am.
And
No,
you've sold stuff to people before that you stole?
no, ma'am.
Never?
No, no, ma'am.
Do you think of yourself, Ms. Miller, as a thief?
To be honest, ma'am, no, I never have,
Okay,
but I
I'm trying to
know
understand it.
at the time I was unemployed. I was waiting for my unemployment to go through. I had not got anything. We were living in a hotel. I had
Uh-huh.
nothing at all. Like the
And
money for
anything that you stole, the t-shirts, the swim trunks, the khaki pants, I mean, technically speaking, none of that was really needed, was it?
no, it was not. It was not needed. It was not at
And the
all
liquor, you were just going to turn it into cash for whatever.
for gas money, and
Yeah.
and for the hotel. I mean,
But it's
since
not the first time you've ever been in a difficult spot financially, fair to say?
yes, ma'am, it's not.
I don't
It's
mean
not.
to be funny, but I doubt if you've robbed a bank. Have you ever robbed a bank?
No, ma'am.
I mean, it sounds funny to say that, not funny, haha, just funny, odd. Because, I mean, you're 40 something. How old are you?
I'm a grandmother. Like I
Yeah,
am
you're a grandmother.
44. Yeah,
To
like this is
anybody,
not.
to anybody, that's an adult.
Oh, that's way past adult. Like
Right.
I should own a home. I should be a grandma. Like this is not.
The reason I asked about how old your son was and did he know that you stole the items for him is because he could understand that what you did was wrong.
Yes,
Of course,
ma'am.
you could have told me he's 10 years old and he'd still be old enough to understand this is wrong. The reason
I,
I ask, do you think of yourself as a thief? And I respect the fact that you say, no, I don't. You don't really think of yourself like that. But there are a lot of people, especially now, a lot of people in financial distress in
that
every
don't.
sense. And they don't turn around and steal.
I understand. I know.
So you've got to figure out what you need to do to get yourself back on the right track.
Well, since
Because
then,
there's no excuse. There's no excuse for
there is
this,
no.
particularly you being an adult. You're the one that's supposed to be the role model for the others.
You know.
I'm not going to send you to jail, but I'm telling you, if this happens again, they're going to charge you with a felony. If you steal a candy bar, they're going to charge you with a felony because you already have a retail fraud second conviction from 10 years ago on your record out of Grand Rapids downtown. They charge you with a retail fraud second here. They reduced it to a third. There doesn't have to be another second to have this be a 5-year felony.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're charged again with a shoplifting, they're going to charge you with a felony. I give you a 93-day suspended jail sentence. 1 day credit for when you went to jail, 92 days suspended. 6 months probation, 5 days of community service. $500 fine. The probation is $30 a month times 6 months is $180. There's a $75 crime victims' right fee. Is it fair for me to say that when they stopped you, you were cooperative and went to the office with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you turn everything over that you
Yes.
stole so they got everything back and nothing was wrecked or damaged or destroyed?
Correct.
The total that you're going to have to pay in fines and court costs is $755. When finances are a problem in the first place, this makes it to be a huge, huge problem to have to waste money on a case like this. Turn yourself around, Ms. Miller, so you're never back as a defendant, ever, your
Yes,
whole
ma'am.
life, if you live till you're 95. You get it?
Yes, ma'am.
They'll set up a payment plan and they'll work with you on paying this. We know you can't pay it all at once. But don't turn around and put yourself in a difficult spot. You're so much smarter than this. Yet you're the one that has to be in control. You're the only one that can dictate you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's it.
I thank
Thanks
you.
for connecting with Zoom. The clerk will be in contact with you via mail.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it Taylor, Raymond?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, Ms. Raymond. Are you calling from the Crossroads address in Caledonia?
No, we just had a change of address recently. It's 121 Ionia Ave, Southwest in Grand Rapids.
121 Ionia Avenue Southwest. Is it a house?
It's an apartment. 513 is the number.
Number 513?
Yeah.
What's the zip code? Is it 49503?
Yes.
Who are you living with?
My mother.
Okay, so you and your mom have that apartment on Ionia and you're no longer in Caledonia.
Yes.
Are you calling from the Ionia apartment now?
Yes.
Okay. You know that when you talked with the prosecuting attorney on this case, Ms. Raymond, am I saying it right, Raymond? Rahman, sorry. You know that talking to the prosecutor on this case, Ms. Rahman, he indicated that you could get the first-time offender program for the Holmes Youthful Trainee status if you pled guilty to the retail fraud third. It's a criminal misdemeanor case, shoplifting, up to 93 days in jail, up to $500 fine, or 3 times the value of the property stolen. You can plead guilty or not guilty. You can have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You can have an attorney represent you. If you go forward today, it's just you and me talking to each other. There's no attorney. If you go forward, it's separate from what your other friends decided to do. Only what you decide to do on this case as to what happened on March 27 at that Meyer on Plainfield Avenue. Am I correct that it was Meyer?
Yes.
Okay. If you wanted to have a trial, you could bring in witnesses, cross-examine witnesses, take the stand yourself, be a witness if you wanted to. If you chose not to, your silence cannot be held against you. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you go forward today, Ms. Rahman, the decision has to be yours, not your mom, not your friends, not the other people that got charged on the same day. It has to be totally your decision.
Yes, I understand.
So far, any questions?
No.
If there was something you wanted to appeal, something that you didn't understand, or at the district court you wanted to have the higher court review it, you're given 3 weeks to appeal a case from district court to circuit court. Circuit court is downtown, and you're given 3 weeks after the penalty phase. Any questions about that?
No.
So if I go back in time to March 27, which is not exactly 7 months ago, but over 6 months ago, how do you want to plead to that retail fraud third from that Meyer store?
Guilty, and that was a mistake.
And are you pleading guilty by your own decision?
Yes.
Do you remember being at that Meyer, the one on Plainfield on that day, March 27?
Yes.
And do you remember being there with some of your other friends, people that you knew?
Yes.
And you guys talked about going there for the purpose of getting liquor, correct?
Yeah.
Like at some point the idea comes up because didn't everybody take a bottle of liquor?
We were kind of like driving around, and I think once we got there, we kind of like thought about it or like were influenced to do it, and like other people around the school. So the idea wasn't new in our brain, but that's when we had decided to make that mistake and do it.
So when you went in the store at Meyer on Plainfield that day, March 27th, you guys had at least discussed what you were going to do.
Yes.
And when you went in the store, it was open to the public that day. Do you remember what time you went in?
I do not. It was dark.
Dark, nighttime?
Yeah.
Obviously, the store was still open.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember selecting 2 bottles of liquor yourself?
Yes.
Do you remember sticking them in your pants or in your waistband?
Yes.
To put your shirt over them so they wouldn't show?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
And your whole intent, you don't have to be sorry, I just need to have you speak verbally. Your whole intent was to steal the liquor, wasn't it?
Yes.
And are you 18 years old right now, Ms. Rahman?
Yeah, as of July 30th.
So you were 17 when it happened, or you were already 18? You had just turned 18?
17.
Okay, so it happened in March and you were still 17. Did you go to school with any of these other people?
They were a grade above me, but they went to the same high school.
Same high school, but different class.
Yeah.
And was the idea, if nobody would have been involved in this, that you would drink the alcohol and share it with other people?
Yeah, I mean, I
What
think
was
so.
it for?
Just for our own personal use.
For your personal use?
Yeah.
And were you stealing it because you weren't old enough to buy it? Or were you stealing it because you didn't have the money? Or both?
Just because we weren't old enough, basically.
Uh-huh. So you're living with your mom. Did you tell her about it?
Yeah, I did.
Not to be funny, but I doubt if your mother ever told you, go ahead and steal if you need something.
Yeah, she didn't. It was very hard.
She's never taught you to do that, has she?
No, she's taught me the complete opposite. It's complete out of character for me.
Does she work outside the home?
Right now, no.
What caused you guys to leave Caledonia to move to Ionia?
My mom, so I was graduated at that point, like about to, and my mom didn't have a reason to stay in Caledonia. She wanted to live in the downtown area. And I would have been at Michigan State this year, but it's online, so I'm just doing online from home.
Well, you're still going to Michigan State, you're just doing it online.
Yeah.
And is your dad out of the picture? They weren't a couple?
Yeah.
Okay.
He lives in Florida.
Fair enough, your mom wasn't happy to hear about you got busted for stealing liquor at Meijer.
No.
You know, you got to think about who you want to be as a person. I don't know you at all. I don't know your mom. I'm sure she's a fine person, and I'd bet everything she never once taught you to act this way, steal. I ask people all the time, do you think of yourself as a thief? The lady I just talked to was 44 years old and a grandmother. She stole $111 worth of stuff from Meijer, including liquor. And I asked her, do you think of yourself as a thief? And she said, no, I don't. Did you hear her?
Yeah, I did.
Were you listening to her?
Just at the very tail, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, here you are at 17 years old, now 18, totally know right from wrong, don't really have any explanation. I think when you talked to the people that stopped you, you said it was a big mistake.
Yeah, I 100%.
Think of it.
Even when like right before like we left the store, like I had I wanted to take it out, but at that point, like I kind of felt like I didn't know. I felt like I was too far in, and not as an excuse, but I knew it was wrong from like the second it happened.
No, I get it. But it's only you that can make the choices. I mean, your friends can't really make you do something, and you can't make them do something. You got to be strong enough to be able to say, hey, I can like that person. They're a good friend of mine, but I'm not going to be involved in that. You have to do that even if it's a sibling. You can't say I'm going to be part of this if you know it's wrong. And for you to take an active part by putting liquor in your pants, I mean, it's just everything about it is wrong, and you know it. If somebody ripped you off, and I don't know if you've ever been victimized, but if somebody stole something from you, it feels different when you're the victim. Meijer's is a big corporate conglomeration, so maybe, people don't think of it like that, but the rest of us are paying higher prices because people like you steal. Meijer's can't afford to have you should see how many thefts we get from Meijer. Every Meijer, everywhere. Every Walmart, every Kmart, every Menards, pretty much every store. My point to you is you're so much smarter than this. How do you decide who you're going to be? And one of the first things you tell me is this is so out of character for me when you're talking about yourself. Well, if it's really that out of character for you, why did it even happen in the first place? It's hard to put it together. You get this first-time offender program, but you got to really, really follow the rules exact. Or if you don't, the shoplifting is going to be on your record permanently.
Okay.
That's a little bit hard to show people when you're applying for jobs.
Yeah.
It's a 93-day suspended jail sentence, 1-day credit, 92 days suspended, 6 months, probation, $300 fine, $180 fee for probation, $75 crime victims' right fee. And it is true, is it not, that Meijer got their liquor back? Nothing was damaged or destroyed?
No, they got it back for any
It's
condition.
$555, Ms. Rahman. And it's a lot more expensive. It's not about stealing the liquor. It's getting yourself back on track so that you're not acting like a criminal. Don't be a criminal again. Don't be a defendant again. You're smarter than that. You need to act smart as you are.
I will.
All right, now what questions do you have for me?
So like, I guess like I heard what you were just saying, but like what exactly is the
A suspended jail sentence is jails held over your head. You don't serve the jail time now, but if you violate over the next 6 months, I could give you that jail. The monetary fines, they'll set up a payment plan and your probation officer will be talking to you. They'll contact you at the Ionia address. Most everything's going to be done virtually, just like your classes at state.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Thanks for your courtesy. You can disconnect.